everyone. This is a presentation from Group 3C, introducing the media system in Hong Kong based on our discussion. Later we will look into 3 parts. First, a summary of media system in Hong Kong. Second, its strengths and weaknesses, and third, what we can do to improve it. So, shall we start? According to the book written by Helene and Paolo, media systems can be categorized into 3 models in terms of 4 dimensions: newspaper industry, political parallelism, journalist professionalism, and the role of state. In newspaper industry, we look into number and types of newspaper to analyze the market size. There are 52 daily newspaper registered, of which 25 are Chinese language, 12 are English language, and also Japanese language, and some bilingual papers. They belong to different types. Some focus on general news, while others specialize in finance. We also refer to the commercialization level and circulation rate. It is highly commercialized because most of them are supported by advertising. There are some mass circulation newspaper, for example, Apple Daily, with 130,230 pieces per day in 2016, even when today's people tend to watch news online. Another supporting point is the high rate of leadership, which suggests a large audience group. Therefore, in our opinion, Hong Kong has a relatively strong media market. Then, we analyze the political parallelism. Are there any links between ideologies or parties and newspaper? According to our discussion, we find the political parallelism here in Hong Kong resembles the notion of external pluralism. Many of them obviously have certain political tendencies or stances, like the Ta Kung Pao stance on pro-Beijing side, while Apple Daily is considered to be on pro-democracy side. However, there are still some neutral commercial newspaper. For instance, the South China Morning Post under Alibaba Group, and the Wall Street Journal. In conclusion, we argue that the links exist, but the parallelism is middle-level strong. Now it's time to move to the journalist professionalism part. Is there a tradition of professionalism? Are there codes of ethics for journalists? Firstly, we discuss about the autonomy. As shown in the latest World Press Freedom Index by Reporters Without Borders, Hong Kong is now dropped to number 73 in the world. Also, we found the TVB is increasing its self-censorship under political pressure. News Report didn't even play the entire video of the issue of 7 policemen beating a protester in Admiralty. Secondly, there are organizations to ensure institutional norms in media like the Hong Kong Journalists Association and HKPC. Besides, Hong Kong Journalist Code is published a list of ethic and behavioral responsibilities. However, a newspaper like Apple Daily has the tendency to obtain information by invading privacy and then report more celebrities' gossips, which contradicts the codes. Lastly, if we take the relative credibility of Hong Kong newspapers, the worrying low credibility implies that they are losing public's trust and hence lose the public service orientation. Therefore, we roughly conclude that there is a tradition, but the professionalism itself is just not as strong. Finally, we reach the last dimension, the role of state. What is the role of the government? Is it act as financial supporter? Is a level intervention high or low? We haven't found any persuasive information for the government directly giving out subsidies to ensure the weaker company's survival. The only government-funded broadcast is the RTHK, which operates 7 networks in Cantonese, Chinese, and English. But it is not entirely controlled by the government, because it sometimes even takes an opposite side on political issues. In addition, there are only few pieces of legislation called Control of Obscene and Indecent Articles Ordinance by the government. So, we reach our consensus that Hong Kong government is not a supporter for the media, and there is relatively low intervention.
Created using Powtoon.
So does the Hong Kong media system fit into the 3 categories that Hallen and Mancini found in Europe, or is it something unique? Well, based on our discussions, we have concluded that although the Hong Kong media system displays traits of all 3 models that Hallen and Mancini found in Europe, it is unique in the sense that it does not fit perfectly into any single system due to its complex historical and political contexts. So let's start with the liberal model. Although the Hong Kong media system has medium circulation like the liberal system, in terms of political parallelism, it cannot be said to be completely neutral. Moreover, we have also concluded in our discussions that in recent years, Hong Kong media's once strong journalist professionalism is also getting weaker. In light of this, we can see that although the Hong Kong system displays traits of the liberal system, it does not fit perfectly. Secondly, now let's look at the democratic corporatist system. Since the Hong Kong media system displays elements of external pluralism, it does in fact show traits of the democratic corporatist model. Different papers in Hong Kong often have different political biases and agendas. However, the media in Hong Kong doesn't really have as much self-regulation as the typical democratic corporatist media. Finally, let's talk about the polarized model. Hong Kong media's external pluralism and weakening political professionalism suggest similarities between the two systems. Moreover, there is also growing concern that after incidents such as the Causeway Bay bookseller disappearances, that state intervention may also become stronger in the future. However, since this has not happened yet, Hong Kong media cannot be said to fit perfectly into the polarized model either.
Created using Powtoon.
Now, let's talk about the strengths and weaknesses of Hong Kong media in the context of a civil society. Hong Kong has a large number of media. There are 52 daily newspapers and 644 periodicals in Hong Kong. The mass circulation of newspapers allows citizens to easily access news information, as some of the newspapers are even free of charge and are delivered every workday near the MTR stations. This enhances a rapid flow of information in a civil society. People can therefore monitor the government and society. Besides, Hong Kong's media have a good commercial foundation, which is mostly supported by advertising. This reduces the rely on government subsidies. Government is generally not interfering the media industry. The basic law ensures the freedom of speech. This makes the political overtones relatively low, though still have some political propagandas. However, Hong Kong media are not neutral enough. The self-censorship of media may bury the truth. Although the government has no clear censorship system on media, some media may filter out those information that the government does not want to see so that not to offend the government. This limits the spread of civic thought, as the movements for the benefit of the public are often opposing the government. This reduces the credibility of media.
Created using Powtoon.
So how can the media system in Hong Kong be improved? It depends on three important stakeholders: the advertiser, media organizer, and the government. Advertiser can be very influential. They pay to the media to show their advertising on newspapers or websites. Advertising is one of the major sources of income for media in Hong Kong. It prevents Hong Kong media becoming the mouthpiece of authority. However, if the advertiser is pressurized, this situation is not that optimistic. Based on political, business considerations, it is possible that the advertiser would block the particular media. The crisis of Next magazine is one of the good example. To improve the independency of local media, the advertiser in Hong Kong should show the business ethics. Not to boycott the media representing minority, anti-establishment, and deploy their advertising based on the flow of people instead of political views. The second stakeholder is the media organizer. It has been mentioned before. Nowadays, media in Hong Kong is biased in a certain extent. It is normal that media organizers have different stances. But for major media, their organizer also should take the responsibility. There comes a question: which subject should the media organizer serves? Is it the authority, the elite, or people who share the same views? Based on the theory of social responsibility, it should serve the society. The media is the fourth estate, which means it has the power and duty to inspect the authority. The media organizer should resist the inappropriate intervention of authority, take the responsibility of the fourth estate, and promote the self-disciplined culture of journalism. The last stakeholder that I am going to talk about is the government. Hong Kong government takes a very important part in the improvement of media. The Communications Authority in Hong Kong acts as a statutory body responsible for licensing and regulating the broadcasting and telecommunications industries. It means all kinds of broadcasting need to be approved by the government. In 2013, HK government disapproved the license application of HKTV. It caused a major protest. Many people criticized the government for such decision. because it is hurting the pluralism of media in Hong Kong. In order to improve the performance of local media, government should remove irrational regulation to enhance the pluralism of media market. And don't intervene the freedom of expression due to the political consideration, because it would only be harmful to the social stability.
Created using Powtoon.